According to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, more than 500,000 Americans are experiencing homelessness.
In Alabama, that number is at about 3,400 people. Tonight, anchor Rosanna Smith explores the barriers and challenges faced by hundreds of people living on the streets of Montgomery.
I'll get to the finish line, might be tomorrow.
54-year-old Barbara Harris found herself homeless last year after a house fire.
I didn't have but one night of shelter after my house fire. I ended up in the street, literally.
Since then, Harris and her 3 dogs have been trying to survive from day to day. Harris often wonders where she will lay her head.
Sleeping behind convenience stores and abandoned houses just so I could feel any kind of security.
Or where her next meal will come from.
The hardest thing for me to get every day is a meal.
What's the longest day you've ever had to go without a meal?
You talking about a real meal? From how long ago? About 4 months, I had no meal. I lived off snapbacks.
The Point in Time Count is conducted by the Mid-Alabama Coalition for the Homeless every year. It tracks the number of those who are unsheltered, meaning they are either living on the streets, in an emergency shelter, or in transitional housing. In 2022, there were 278 people homeless on any given night in Montgomery County. That number increased to 345 this year.
Several of the people that I tried to come by to visit with at least once a week.
Patrick Aiken is boots on the ground for the Mid-Alabama Coalition for the Homeless. As a street outreach worker, his goal is simple.
I'm the guy that goes out into the highways and the byways, the woods, the abandoned buildings, down by the riverfront, under the overpasses, to seek out and converse and form a relationship with those that are sleeping in those places.
This homeless encampment in Montgomery shows the conditions some people are living in. You can see the makeshift shelters, shopping carts where they store their belongings, and someone's discarded sofa they now use as a bed.
And I call it existing or surviving. By our standards, we couldn't call this living.
Aiken says it's important to know that not everyone who's homeless is jobless.
Whether it's drawing a paycheck or working under the table, they're actually out there working. And they're trying to make this camp a better camp.
Their stories are real. They're good people on a hard time. Don't judge them.
Mock is helping Barbara get temporary, affordable housing, something that's in short supply. Barbara says it's the simple things that mean the most.
You got your own restroom. You can get a bath when you want to. You can brush your teeth when you want to. Yeah, wash your face when you need to. That's gonna be a wonderful feeling. Yes, it is. It sure is. It's the things most people don't even think about. Just take for granted every day.
Aiken says it's important to know that homelessness and panhandling are not synonymous with one another. Not all panhandlers are homeless, and not all homeless panhandle. But there are a number of ways you can help. Mock accepts in-kind donations of clothing, blankets, and hygiene products, which are always helpful. If you'd like to learn more information about Mock and resources available, we placed a link in this story on WSFA.com. Rosanna Smith in Montgomery, WSFA 12 News.
Rosanna, thank you. One factor for the increase in homelessness is the availability of fewer shelter beds here in Montgomery. With the Salvation Army in transition, the Friendship Mission is the only overnight shelter available, and it's at capacity. The charity says that it is in desperate need of funding to expand its programs.